And as you guys can see on the screen, shift happens. And today's presentation is going to be about a shifting market, about changing in the market and the tactics that we can leverage to take market share. And so at the end, should we have some time, it would be my pleasure to answer any questions. So as I'm going through these tactics, don't hesitate to write down any questions or things that you may want clarity on. It would be my pleasure to answer every single one of those. But Zoom is always challenging and unique to kind of keep engagement. So I'm curious if you guys could hit the little button at the bottom, show hands, because a lot of you guys aren't on, but like, let's gauge the room. Who's been in the business 1 year or less? All right, I see a few of you guys. And how about 10 years or less, meaning you got in 2014? Yeah. The reason I asked these a couple of these questions at the beginning is the last market shift was brief in 2021. But the last real market shift, and we're going to dive in a little bit, was before a lot of us in here were in the market. And so let me share a little bit of who I am, and let's dive into the material. So I'm born and raised here in South Florida. I ran track and cross country for the University of Central Florida. Graduated from UCF back in 2001 and got my license in 2005. Learned truly how to sell real estate when the market was super hot, just in time for the market to implode. And I share that because a lot of what I'm going to share with you today were tactics that I was taught in 2006, 7, 8, 9, and we're going to dive into that. In 2000, so I sold in Orlando from 05 to 2012, when I then we formed RGT in 2010, but we sold Orlando and Miami at the same time from 2012, 13, and 14. So I've had today as my business partner of 15 years, Ralph Goicorea's birthday. So everyone give him a shout out. But we formed RGT in 2010 and again sold in both markets for several years at the same time. I'm now a Glover University coach, and it is my passion, it is my fulfillment to help agents see their potential and help them navigate through the market. And I have been a team leader of an office of 180 agents since 2016. So I have my real estate business, I'm a Glover U coach, and I run a 160, 170 person real estate office here in Aventura. Our real estate business has closed over 2,000 homes. And I don't share these things to impress you. I share them to impress upon that I've been through the mud. I understand, and a lot of this I lived and breathed and executed. So you're going to feel and see a lot of passion in what I'm sharing. Um, Here's something that a lot of folks don't know. In the last 3 years, each year I've coached one of the 20 under 40 winners with YPN, with the Miami Board of Realtors. So that's something I like to hang my hat on. I coach one person each year that landed on the 20 under 40. And my clients would share that I specialize in systems, mindset, telephone prospecting, and models. I built my business leveraging the telephone, and a lot of that's going to show in today's presentation. So enough about me, let's dive in. What are the tactics that we have to learn and implement in a shift? Well, the first is mindset, expense management, finding the motivated, converting leads, learning how to price property and have conversations with sellers, overcoming buyer reluctance, which many of you are experiencing today, and most importantly, bulletproofing the transaction. So this is an overview of what we're going to be discussing today. So initial thoughts. Inventory is climbing. Home buyers are more reluctant than ever to do business. Sellers are increasingly out of touch, moving from a market of speed. Let's go. Let's write offers. How high can you go? Let's go, let's go, let's go. To a market of skill. And anxiety with both buyers, sellers, and agents is high. Does this sound familiar? Well, if it does, this is what it was like in 1979, 1987, 2006, and again today. And if you're not experiencing any of that right now, sit back, relax, it's on its way. And I share this because this shift, the experts are saying, is not a temporary shift. This is the first shift of each one of those that is not temporary. This is a permanent shift. And the reason I share that it's a permanent shift is because of the buyer agent compensation conversation. I share with my clients and my agents that a meteorite hit the industry. We all survived, but life will never be the same in a couple months when it comes to how we navigate the market, how we communicate with buyers and sellers, and how we get compensated.
Recording in progress.
So today is going to be all about driving that forward. All right. So what is a shift? Shifts are cyclical. So what goes up must come down, and what goes down doesn't stay there. That's the most important part to understand about a shift. It shifts. They're never unexpected, but they're rarely predictable because they happen. Shifts happen in real estate. They occur when supply and demand is out of balance. So just simply understand that anytime you hear a market shift, it just means that inventory moves out of balance. Supply and demand is moving out of balance like a pendulum. So when one market moves to the other, a buyer's market moves to a seller's market, and a seller's market moves to a buyer's market. So what is a buyer's market? A buyer's market is more than 7 months of inventory. A balanced market is 5 to 7 months of inventory, or 5.5, 6 months of inventory. And a seller's market is less than 5. So understanding month supply of inventory is one of the key factors to acknowledging what type of market are we currently in. This next slide that I'm going to share is probably the most important slide that I can share with you. And that is the law of equilibrium, or the shift equilibrium. And so hopefully you guys could see my mouse right here. And so check this out. The law of equilibrium says this, that as the amount of available income and closings goes up, the amount of agents coming into the business follows suit. And many of you guys got into the business because you heard it was easy. Everyone's making money. You can make as much money as you like. And that's true when the market is going up. Everyone's coming in. Everyone's coming in. But the law of equilibrium says once the market starts to adjust downward, or the amount of closing starts to shrink, which right now, surprisingly, the amount of closings have been pretty steady, but the amount of listings have been continuing to grow. So we aren't on this downturn yet. We're like right here. But what the law of equilibrium says is the moment that the market downturns, the amount of available income shrinks, the amount of agents coming into the business will continue to rise. What this part right here is, the most important part to understand the shift is that there's more agents than the amount of available income. So the term is deemed survival. And that's where the amount of agents exceeds the amount of closings, and we must adjust our tactics to take or keep our market share. But the beautiful part of this equilibrium is as income or the amount of available income lowers, the amount of agents continue to get out of the business. However, once the market rebounds, the amount of agents who don't know what they're doing will continue to get out of the business. And that's when we have peak per agent income, because transaction count starts to rise and the amount of agents who don't know what they're doing are getting out of the business. So this is a principal fact of understanding that, hey, we have to survive to thrive. And the tactics we're going to talk about today will be the tools to help each one of you execute your goals and dive in. And so let's have some fun. So the first step, or the first tactic, is mindset. 90% of our success as entrepreneurs is what's in between our ears. So in understanding mindset and action, we have to get shifty. And that is that we really have one choice to thrive. And that is to have two shifts. The first is a mental shift. And the mental shift is we can't control the market, but we can control our response to the market. So the first shift is understanding that we can't control the market, but we can control the way we think about the market and our response to it. Because make no mistake, the market doesn't determine any of our success. It simply determines the strategy at which we must execute to continue growing our market share. The second shift is what we do. And that's taking action, but it's also taking the right action. And it's more about doing and not knowing, or I need to know what to do. I need to be an expert at what I do. No, it's about getting in the trenches and doing the right activities. The right activities is this: lead generation and lead conversion. Generating leads and becoming fanatical in converting. And we're going to be talking about that in a second. The next right action to take and have the right mindset is practicing dialogues. This is a secret that the top agents share or don't share, is that this is a dialogue-based business, and perfecting your value proposition has never been more important than it is right now with the NAR settlement and learning what to say. So this is practicing dialogues, perfecting your value proposition, and most importantly, your presentations. Buyer consultations, listing presentations. Nothing in a shift is more important. In a shift, nothing is more important than finding motivated buyers and sellers and closing them to appointments. So if there's one thing that I want you to take away from this entire presentation in the first couple minutes, it's that nothing is more critical in an adjusting market than finding motivated buyers and sellers and closing them to appointments. When you focus on this, it provides two invaluable gifts. The first is that you're in the trenches. You know what buyers and sellers are saying. You will hear the same objections. You will hear their concerns. And then you tailor your approach to those concerns. The second invaluable gift of being engaged in the market is that you get an honest understanding of conversion rates. And conversion rates and tracking your numbers is imperative because it helps you restructure and refocus your direction that's necessary to take market share and not fall victim to a market. And we're going to dive a lot into that here shortly. So the first tactic is getting your head right and understanding we have to have a mental shift and an action shift, and knowing that there is nothing more important than finding motivated buyers and sellers and sitting on appointments. The second tactic is the least sexy of them all, which is expense management. And the first thing to understand in expense management is a dollar saved is the first dollar earned. It is extremely challenging, team, extremely challenging to out revenue a shifting market. The beautiful part of a shift is that agents, or I should say entrepreneurs, get exposed. The $100,000 millionaires out there, Instagram stars, get exposed if they don't take tactic 2 seriously. The first dollar saved is the first dollar earned. Entrepreneurs who are responsive to change, who understand that you can't out revenue a shift, are most likely to survive and be in the market to thrive on the back end. One of those tools is the ABC method. And that's where you take all of your credit card statements, and this is extremely painful. However, it is powerful. Take all of your credit card statements and get 3 different highlighters. And label each highlighter A, B, and C. A is what is essential. What absolutely can I not live without? B, what's important, but it's not essential. And C, what is that? Or it's absolutely discretionary. The first thing to do when you feel the market shifting is eliminate all of your C expenses in your personal and your business. Then challenge each of your Bs, which you believe is important but not essential, and even team up with a friend to challenge your Bs so that you can get as lean as possible and be as profitable as possible. Because make no mistake, the purpose of business is profit. The purpose of profit is to fund the perfect life. And the perfect life is to truly live before you die. And if your business isn't profitable, if you're not putting money away for taxes, then you're not running a business, you're running a hobby. And so take expense management absolutely seriously and lead with revenue. Create a budget that matches your revenue, not your lifestyle. This might be making a couple of you really uncomfortable, but I'm talking to you. Your budget should match your revenue, not your lifestyle. So remargin your business by playing red light, green light. Red light, green light means this. Any expense you have should have a return on investment of at least 4 to 1. Every expense should have a goal of 10 to 1. And if it's not, red light it. Ego is not your friend. Profit is your friend. So play red light, green light, and have return on investment standards for your business. The next is have tax strategies and align yourself with a professional CPA who has stood the test of time and who can help you align your business with tax strategies and moving yourself forward, of course, staying in the black. And learn the language of money. A little be honest, back in 2018, I joined an organization called M1, which really stands for March to Net Worth of $1 million. And I needed to learn how money worked, the language of money. And a little be honest as well, back at the beginning of my career, I built $60,000 in debt trying to figure out the ins and outs. I paid it off, and because I'm such a quick learner, I built another 30 in debt and made the decision to pay that off, and I've been debt free since 2012. And I share that again, not to impress, but to impress upon that I needed to learn the language of money so I didn't make the same mistakes that I had made in the past. All right, switching gears to lead generation, the third tactic. And this is a, a, a quote that should be in front of you when you lead generate. You should wake up and think about it. And it's, if your ship doesn't come in, swim out to it. If you're deserted on an island and you see the first ship in a year, swim out to it. Don't expect it to come to your shore. Go get it. And that's the attitude and the energy when it comes to generating leads that I implore each of you. I'm begging that each of you take and run with. And that is that if your ship doesn't come in, if you don't have enough leads or appointments, go get them. Because the number one challenge in a shift is finding motivated people who will do business with you. In order to do that, we may have to double our efforts. In other words, if you're having 20 conversations a day, make it 40. If you're having 30, make it 50 or 60. If you only work Aventura, you may have to work Brickell or Fort Lauderdale. If you only work Pembroke Pines, you may have to go to Plantation, Coral Springs, Aventura, Miami. We have to double the area and double the amount of people because we have to find those that are willing to do business, or we will fall victim to a shift. Pro tip, find the have-tos. And what you guys will find, or you may have found this back in 2021, 22, that there's have-tos and there's want-tos. And want to may not do what they have to do to perform in this market. Where a have to, the sale is outside of their control. And so in our lead generation efforts, we're always asking questions to find those that have to sell. And they fall into 6 categories. And they all start with the letter D. Death. Sales outside of their control. Families selling the property. Divorce. It's part of the divorce. It's happening. Or divorce and they're moving to buy new property. Debt. Can't afford the property any longer. We gotta sell this thing. Diamonds. Hey, we're coming together. We're buying real estate. Hey, I have this studio. We need to go buy a house. Diapers. We live in a 1-bedroom. We're having twins. Need a 3-bedroom house. Need to get rid of this. So, death, divorce, debt, diamonds, diapers, and the 6th one, the job. Well, that's relocation. And so I'm not going to say 5 D's and an R. The job is relocation. They're going to move. The job is assisting that motivation. The sale is outside of their control. So in our lead generation efforts, we're always looking for have-tos. Now, being on Zoom, this is one of my favorite parts of the presentation to ask is, do you consider yourself a competitor? Are you competitive as an entrepreneur? Because make no mistake, the true competitors reveal themselves because there's no longer enough to go around. Now, I'll give you a visualization of this. If there's 1,000 homes that sell every month, and there's 1,000 agents, everyone has an opportunity to eat. So envision this same thing as a pizza pie. There's 8 slices to a pizza pie. Well, there's 50, 60 of us on this call. I know I'm getting 2 slices. That only leaves 6 slices for everybody else. And if you wake up every day knowing you're going to eat 2 slices, but there's only 8 available, that's how you wake up every day, find the motivated, and generate leads purposefully. So that's hunting season and the leads challenge. The leads challenge is this: your goals haven't changed. If your goal is to make 100, 250, 500, 750,000, that shouldn't change going into 2025. So if you know your goal is to make $500,000 and you know that your average commission is $10,000, which means you have to close 50 transactions, that doesn't change in a shift. What does change and what the leads challenge is the number of appointments you will have to go on and the number of leads you will have to generate the amount of appointments for you to close 50 transactions. So what changes in a shift and what the leads challenge is the amount of activities that you will have to do, which I referenced in doubling your efforts. So I try to bring that back around for you and understanding that if you keep doing what you're doing, you may not be getting the same results going into 2025. The top teams that I coach and that I have access to understand that data is the new oil. And lead generation is simply a contact sport with simple rules. And that's you make contact with people through active marketing or passive marketing, picking up the phone or waiting for things to come to you. Both work. So once you have a conversation or a contact, you either have immediate business or it's future business. There's no other outcome of a conversation with someone. They're either, yes, I'm ready to do business today, or I'm going to do business 3 months, 9 months, 2 years from now. Once you meet someone or connect, whether it's actively or passively, the next thing to do is put them in your database and follow up with them forever. The top teams understand this, and they have 10,000, 40,000, 75,000 people in their databases, and they get this and understand it. I'll give you guys a pro tip, a database tactic. In a seller's market, everyone wants to sell. Everyone's getting top dollar for their property. In a buyer's market, the question you want to ask your database is, who do you know that's having trouble selling their home? Now, the definition of a lead is extremely important. And I'll share with you my real estate team's definition and my definition of a lead. And that is someone who's looking to buy or sell real estate, who is motivated, who is willing to work with me, qualified, and is looking to do business within the next 100 days. Now, I'll break that down for you. They're motivated. Yeah, I mean, that's by asking questions and understanding what their pain threshold is and why they're looking to do what they're doing. They're willing to work with me because I asked them, are you willing to work with me? They're qualified. Class for another day, seller pre-qualification, and of course, buyer pre-qualification is knowing how much cash they have and where they want their monthly payments, and being qualified and ready to go. We also know what their holding costs should be with cash. And looking to do business within the next 100 days. Now, that part right there will determine the amount of transactions that you do in a year. The shorter that is, meaning anything under 100, the more transactions you will do. So, for example, agents that I coach that have a goal of 100 closings as a single agent, their definition of a lead is someone looking to do business in the next 7 to 10 days. And I say that because to close 100 transactions a year, that's 8 a month. You got to put 2 deals together a week. You can't be working with someone intensely who's looking to do business in the next 90 days. You can only work with people who are ready, willing, and able to do business right now to close the most amount of transactions. So that's a little pro tip there. Your definition of a lead is the longer the time frame, the more you collect leads, then finding more people that are ready to do business today. Which moves us to lead conversion. So the mindset of conversion, this is the next tactic, is your job as a professional real estate agent is to sit on appointments and take both buyer and seller listings. That's your job. And every day that you are not sitting on an appointment, I I encourage you to feel that you are unemployed, that you are behaving unemployed, you are acting unemployed, and be fanatical with sitting on appointments. When you have this killer mindset, everything changes. So look at it this way. If you do lead generation, but you don't get a name and number, what good is it? If you get a name and number, but you can't set an appointment, what good is the name and number? And as important as lead generating activities are, if you don't have a name and number or an appointment, what really did you accomplish that day? And when you look at that mindset as, okay, I'm fanatical, my job is to sit on appointments, now you look at the critical aspect of conversion. And that is that lead generation is not an event that just sits on its own. It's a skill. It's the ability to follow up, handle objections, and understand the law that the majority of your appointments won't come from the first conversation. They're going to come from fanatically following up, staying organized, using a CRM, and being there with emotional proximity so that when they're ready, they're thinking of you and you're ready to handle whatever questions they have. Handling objections is a skill that I hope each of you take seriously. This is the most craziest statistic. NAR every year has a home buyer and home seller study. And last year said that 66% of all buyers and sellers only interviewed one agent before they chose one. The craziest part is 50% of the remaining few only interviewed two. So that means that getting to the table first or second is everything. And this makes conversion, getting to the table, more important than any presentation. Speed to lead, close for appointments, especially in a shift. But as I said, get to the table first. Now, the decision continuum is extremely important. And the decision continuum says this, that people are a yes or people are a no. Our job is to get someone that's a no to maybe a no, and someone that's a maybe to a maybe yes, and get people that are a maybe yes to an absolute yes. And so as you're asking questions, we have to determine, where does this person stand on the decision continuum? Are they a no? Can I get them to a maybe no? Can I get them to behave a little bit differently, ask them questions to get them off center? If they're a maybe, what can I ask them? What services can I provide to help them move to a yes? And that's the decision continuum. And we do that by understanding objections and conditions. This is sales 101. Objections is really misunderstanding or signs of misunderstanding. It's questions in the mind of the consumer. And they just really need more education. Like, for example, mortgage rates are too high. Well, did you know that a seller could buy down your rate? Did you know that, hey, if we could get your payment where you want it to be, does it matter what the interest rate is? A condition. That's a matter of fact that we could do nothing about. So when there's a condition, our job is to offer services to help position that matter of fact to move it to an objection. So a condition would be, I got bad credit. Well, if someone has bad credit, they can't buy per se because they don't qualify. But we can offer to introduce them to our lender or a credit repair specialist to then put them in a program to then qualify. So in the decision continuum, it simply is an objection, is it a condition, and can I move them to a yes by asking questions and helping them self-discover. All right, switching gears to seller pricing strategies. One of the most important of the tactics. And the first is pricing property is a skill, and it's developed over time. I'm going to give you guys some cheat sheets on this, so have your pens and papers ready. In a shift, instead of guessing that there's no top of the market, buyers now predict that there's no bottom. So they hesitate. And the truth of any shift is this: both buyers and sellers want to buy in a shift. The question we have to answer is at what price? What price makes sense? Because people need a roof over their head. People are ready, willing, and able. So we have to get to that. What price? So the best way to truly serve a seller, representing a seller in a shift, is to show them how to outthink other sellers that are trying to sell in a shifting market. And we have to help them compete. And so one way to do that, pro tip, price off the lowest actives, not the last solds. When the market is adjusting downward, price off the lowest actives so that we're the next one that sells. So when buyers pull back, sellers have to step out front. We have to be proactive and showing instructions, asking this question: what can the seller do to initiate an offer from the buyer? What can we do to get an offer from the buyer? The backyard needed a fence. Cool. If we put a fence in the backyard or give you a concession and build a fence in the backyard, can we get an offer? We have to have the mindset of being competitive, rocking and rowing. I'm hoping you guys are getting some good stuff from this. So there's 3 pricing strategies: pricing at the market, pricing behind the market, and pricing ahead of the market. The agents that are in my world hear me say this all the time. Amateurs focus on price, professionals focus on terms. I will take terms over price every day because we're going to talk about bulletproofing transactions in a little bit. When we price ahead of the market, we get to dictate the terms as a listing agent, which can help keep deals together versus begging and praying that we get something to try to negotiate. So let that be your pro tip there. Now, what are markets? Well, look, guys, many of you have experienced this. In a seller's market, you throw an offer out there, and over time, the market catches it. That's why most agents fail and get out of the business when the market shifts, because they don't understand that you can't price property wrong in a shift, because this is what happens. Well, I want this, but the market's here. Well, over time, the market never catches the property. So you do a price adjustment and the market's over here. Well, let's do a price adjustment. Market's over here. We're 10, 15% off of real value. So let me show you a visual of what this means. In the market of 2021, 22, 23, everything was in the market, whether you were based off of comps, whether you were in any condition, you got multiple offers. Everything sold. In a buyer's market, only the most competitive price with the best conditions sell. Almost everything is out of the market. And there's this old saying, and it's, I want to be the firstborn, second spouse, third realtor. And no truer words are said in this market because the market statistics say this: 40 to 50% of everything on the market is expiring right now. 4 to 5 out of everything listed in both Broward and Dade County is expiring. And that's because agents don't understand that you have to get ahead of the market in a shifting market, price under the lowest actives, so you're the next one that sells. Especially if you work the condo market. All right, next, overcoming buyer reluctance. Buyers in a buyer's market should be doing just that, buying real estate. It's a buyer's market. It's not a fence sitting, waiting, loitering, delaying, postponing, hesitating. It's not a wavering market. It's a buyer's market. So that's exactly what buyers should be doing. However, you can't time the market. Buyers can lose sight of what their primary job is, which is to be focused on what makes the most sense and what's available on the market. So too many buyers fall into the biggest myth of a shift, which is that they could time the market. We must understand how to communicate buyer urgency, how to respond when buyers have lack of buyer urgency, and how to communicate and help them understand urgency. Because buyers are more reluctant than ever in a shift to write offers, and they'd be willing to walk away from any transaction as fast as possible. These are the signs of a shift. And so our job as professional real estate agents is to lead with empathy, ask questions, do a thorough needs analysis, have transparency in the real estate market, show them what's available at what prices, that this is a great value, and communicate with the cooperating agent. This business could be so much easier if it wasn't for some agents who just get in the way of transactions, cross their arms, and behave a certain way. We can do this together if we communicate and just help buyers and sellers understand that the market is shifting. Buyers that are ready, willing, and able. They have cash, down payment, closing costs, inspections, appraisals, repairs, and soon, commission. Ready. They have personal reasons. They have motivation to make a move. And willing. They understand the market's expectations, and it's our job as professional real estate agents to help our clients understand the temperature of the market and how to navigate it. So how do we energize buyer urgency? How do we get buyers rocking and rolling? Well, it's 3 things. It's becoming the local economist of choice by knowing the market. Each one of us should know how many properties are for sale, inventory. What has sold? What is the month supply of inventory? What is absorption rate? And what is a broker's price opinion of this property? We do this by having a strong buyer's consultation and having a clear plan of action for our clients to navigate the market. And most importantly, in being the local economist of choice, is be transparent with the active, pending, and sold inventory and sit down with the buyer when they're ready to write an offer and show them the comparables so that together you guys can navigate. Next, help them tap into their why. I would rather ask a buyer 500 questions to show them the best 5 homes than only ask them 5 questions and then feel the need to see 500 homes. You can imagine how frustrating that is. So go deep, scuba dive with all of their questions, ask great questions, and get clarity on everything. If the husband says this, talk to the wife and get clarity on what her feedback is. Get them talking at your consultation, not out in the field while you're sweating in front of the house, really uncomfortable. Do this at your buyer consultations. And most importantly, have all decision makers present at all times. Consultation, showing property, reviewing the contract, discussing the inspection, all the most important parts of the transaction. And next, address buyer reluctance. It's real. It's going to happen. Everyone's going to be concerned about moving forward. So address it and help them make decisions by simply asking questions. Selling isn't telling, it's asking questions. So get really good at asking questions by practicing dialogues, using role play partners, having real world scenarios, and fail forward. We address also buyer reluctance by letting them know that it's real. Like, yo, it's a huge purchase. I get it. Like, you're going to feel some type of way, and create a best buy list. And you do this by compiling the best buys on the market and do this off of your navigation of the market. You understand what's going on, you know how to track, you know what's out there, and you can do this by paying dividends. This is the dividend of you studying what's out there, what's going on, what's happening, and you can help buyers feel comfortable that what they're moving forward on is absolutely the best value for them. Which brings us to the last tactic. The last tactic is probably the most important of all 7. And it's the most painful one to get really good at. Abraham Lincoln says, if I have 8 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend 6 hours sharpening my axe. When it comes to bulletproofing your transactions, each one of you should spend hours studying everything that could go wrong, because you got to look at this as what could happen is going to happen. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. But each of my coaching clients, the one statistic that I hold them accountable to tracking is dead deals. And it's the most challenging, painful, frustrating statistic to track. Because who wants to track their deals that blow up? But they tell a story and they show where your skill set is in being able to keep deals together or not. It also is a key indicator to you learning how to close the amount of business that you need to close as transaction count shrinks. So one of the key pieces to bulletproofing a transaction is thinking 4 ways. And these are 4 ways to think about what can happen in any professional endeavor. And that is, nothing can go wrong. Anything could go wrong. Something will go wrong. Or everything will go wrong. What makes me a great real estate agent is I believe everything will go wrong, and I have every possible flow chart in my mind of how to handle the worst case scenarios. And then work it all backwards to the best case scenarios. Where most agents think Pollyanna, everything's good, everything's great, we're good, everything's solid. And then when they get blasted, they stop answering their phone, and you're going a couple days, you're like, oh, what's up? What's going on? And clearly something is going wrong. Where a great professional who understands bulletproofing already is ahead of where problems could be, already offering solutions so that we can keep deals together, which is a skill. Bulletproofing is a skill. So, what are the 7 issues in bulletproofing a transaction? Heard this quote at the beginning of my career and it stuck with me forever. And it's a quote by Wayne Gretzky. By the way, go Panthers. And he says, a good hockey player plays where the puck is. A great hockey player plays to where the puck will be. And Wayne Gretzky is hands down the greatest hockey player that ever lived. And so I encourage you to take this quote and always be where is next. One of my great mentors said, most entrepreneurs play checkers. I play chess. Checkers is 1 move at a time. Chess, we're thinking 6, 7, 8 moves ahead. That's bulletproofing. And it's a skill. So what are the 7 issues or the 7 spots that we always want to be ahead of the problem? Well, inspections and repairs. That's first and foremost. Will the property appraised? How do we get ahead? How do we draft language to keep the deal moving forward? How do we prepare our buyers and sellers for should the property not appraise? This is going to be really important, guys, when we have to navigate compensation, especially if there's a concession. Next, loan approval and funding. Clearly typo. Loan approval and funding. Well, guys, if loan approval is at 20 days, at day 10, I'm finding out what stipulations are left, what the turnaround times are with the lender, and I'm challenging in the next couple days, not waiting till a day before the 20th and go, are we closing? Bulletproofing is getting ahead of all problems. Next, what other contingencies are there? Is there a house for sale? Do they have to sell before they buy? What other obstacles are there in this transaction? Do we have HOA approval? Another issue, and I brought it up earlier, and it's just it's an unfortunate part of the business, the other agent. Sometimes, many times, we have to do both sides as top agents, and that's okay. Because it's not about the work, it's about representation. It's about creating an amazing experience for our clients, and we have to address it in bulletproofing. Next, understanding the deadlines. Did escrow go in? What is our inspection? Did we get the HOA docs? Are we at 3 days? What are all of our deadlines? And knowing what they are, being ahead of them and communicating them with our clients, the loan officer, title company, everyone working together as a team. Last, clouds on title. We want to get ahead of that. In South Florida, I learned the hard way of reoccupancy certificates. Hey, we got to know where everything is at all times to drive this thing forward. And always, pro tip, do the walkthrough the day of closing. I'll tell you guys a quick story. I had a closing in Coral Springs years ago. We did a closing the day, or a walkthrough the morning of. We pull up to the house, and it was a single family house, beautiful house, great neighborhood. Water was flowing out of the garage. I look at my client and I was like, that's not good. So we go in, open up the door, and the place is a river. It's a lake with a river and full of water. There was a sunken living room. It was a lake. It was full of water. Back door, wide open. What happened was someone broke into the house a day or two before closing, stole the washer and dryer, but popped the pipes. in the washer and dryer, and the entire place was flowing with water. Now, clearly, we didn't close that day. The agent on the other side was very, very, very good. And we fixed everything, closed a couple weeks later, and everything went well. But if we did the walkthrough the day before and the house got broken into that night, it would be my client's problem. It would be the buyer's problem. So let this be part of your don't let this happen to you folder, and don't do walkthroughs any day other than the day of closing to represent your buyers. Next, act your wage. And we're down the home stretch here. Act your wage is this. You have to think, act, and behave the wage you want to earn before you actually earn it. And in a hot market, everything closes. So the skill set isn't necessarily there. Many agents were order takers. I want to go see this property. I want to write this offer. How high do you want to go? In a soft market, which is one that we are in and rapidly moving into, it takes skill and forward thinking about what may go wrong, and assuming that everything may go wrong, could go wrong, and come up with ways to fix them before they happen, so that when they happen, you have solutions. Let's earn our commission as professionals, especially in a time where it's being challenged. So do your due diligence, get ahead of problems, be prepared. And at many times it means that we're gonna do the other agent's job too, and that's okay. We fail our way to success. One of the greatest myths is that we succeed our way to becoming great agents. And the truth is we fail our way to success, and everyone fails. Everyone hits roadblocks, everyone hits hurdles, but it's the ones that keep going make it, and the ones who fail are the ones who truly stop. So keep the engine moving. Use these 7 tactics as your roadmap and your pillars to driving this forward. And understand this, even the best real estate agents need an assist from the market to gain a step on their competition. These 7 tactics are proven, when implemented with consistency, to take market share in a shift. So allow your competition to not know these, to not focus on them, so that you get a leg up on them. While shifts knock us down, they knock others out of the business. So embrace the hard. Embrace it, because it's knocking others out of the business. And this is our chance to get ahead or be left behind. And really, the only question is which one will you be? You all have licenses. We all have equal opportunity, unequal share. And time tends to reward the resilience. And so I'll end on this quote. Success never comes to the chosen few, but to the few who choose. These can be the worst of times. These can be the best of times. You get to choose. So thank you for the opportunity. I did it right at an hour. Look at that. And I told Kevin I'd open this up for a little Q&A for a couple minutes. I know we got like maybe 10 minutes, 7-10 minutes. And I know this is a lot of information, a little overwhelming, yet that's why I kind of want to open this up for a little Q&A. Oh, I forgot to do the most important part. This is where you guys can find me. And yeah, let's open this up. Vilma, what's up?
Okay. Yes, thank you so much. This is a great class. You mentioned that obviously, as we are contacting, the expires, the FISBO, whatever prospecting methods we're using, you put everybody on the database, and you have to follow up with them, like contact the database forever. What type of systems do you use to contact your database? Do you use email? Do you use text? Do you call them? Is it a combination of everything? And what particular, I guess, subscriber you use for that?
Yeah. So, great question. Um, so understand that there's three parts to a real estate business: lead generation, lead follow-up, and transaction management. So lead generation is one-way communication. That would be door knocking, cold calling, going to networking events, one way, with a goal of having two-way conversation. Once we have two-way conversation with someone, we move into the next phase, which is follow-up. The purpose of follow-up is to do one thing. I'm giving you the long answer, but I want to give you the visual first. The purpose of follow-up is to create emotional proximity. Emotional proximity, by definition, says whoever is closest to a person when they are ready to do business gets the sale.
Okay.
So once you have a model, borrowing the best thinking, today was a model. 7 tactics to take market share. It's the best thinking. Once you have a model, you build systems. And a system is doing the exact same thing every single time. Once you have a model and system, which was your question, what do you use? How do you do it? Then you bring in technology.
Mm.
If you put technology before a model and system, it will break at some point. Everything will crumble. So I encourage you to find a model for communication and follow-up.
Mm.
I have come up in the ranks of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, which you can see behind me. It's the red book. I came up learning that, and that states that there is a model called the 36 touch, which is 36, a minimum of 36 touches: phone, email, text, client events. And once you have the model, you know exactly what you're doing, what they are, what the frequency is. Then you bring in technology. Because technology's job in our business, and y'all are going to figure this out at some point, the only purpose of technology in our business is to scale our models and systems and make things easier. It's not to do, it's to scale. It's to be able, hey, I have 100 people. Okay, well, how do I get to 10,000? That's where technology comes in. So I encourage you to be very curious in different touch techniques so that you could create emotional proximity with your people and you lead with value.
Okay.
All right. Do we have somebody next? How can I get the recording? That's up to you, Kevin, how that's going to get out.
Yeah, I'll send it over. I'll send it over next week.
Perfect. Perfect. And guys, follow me on YouTube. I'm pumping out content. And definitely follow me on Instagram. Please. That would be awesome. Like, subscribe on my YouTube stuff. I'm really pumping out some good stuff there. And anyone else? Hey, we did it till 2:10.
Awesome. Well, yeah, this is perfect. Thank you everybody for tuning in today. We are officially on summer break here at Miami YPN. We won't probably have any more classes until July. So we are going to Isla Mirada next week for District 4. If you want to join us there, you are more than welcome to. Email kevin@miamire.com if you want the link to register there. The week after, we will be in Valencia, Spain. We encourage you to join us there as well. We have an incredible program planned. And some of the people that have been on this class series, not Lee, but maybe one day Lee, will actually be at the YPN Global Congress with Emocionote in Valencia, Spain. So if you need any of that info, we'll happily share it with you. Once again, my email is kevin@miamire.com. So hope you have a great summer, everybody. We will see you back in July, right after the 4th of July holiday. So everybody take care, be safe, and we'll see you next month. Peace out.
I'm a YPN leader. Of course I'm gonna be on my laptop.
I'm a YPN leader. Of course I have a full purse.
I'm a YPN leader. Of course I'm eating before I leave.
I'm a YPN leader. Of course I'm sleeping after showing.
We're YPN leaders.
Of course we're going to be creating content.
I'm a YPN leader. Of course I'm signing up for classes.
I'm a YPN leader. Of course I'm cafecito.
I'm a YPN leader. Of course I'm gonna crash the next happy hour.
If I'm on my way home, yeah. Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? If I'm on my way home, yeah. If I'm on my way home, yeah. Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me?